So late last night, the Arizona Coyotes and the Colorado Avalanche made a trade, and that trade is Darcy Kuemper going to Colorado, and the Arizona Coyotes receive in return defense prospect Connor Timmins, a 2022 first-round pick, and a conditional 2024 third-round pick. The conditions on that third-round pick are if the Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup in 2022 and Darcy Kuemper plays 50% of the games, then the Arizona Coyotes receive that 2024 third-round pick. If those two things do not happen, or if one of the two do not happen, then I'm assuming the Coyotes obviously don't receive that third-round pick. And to be honest, I really like this trade for both teams. After the Avalanche lost Philip Grubauer, you knew that Joe Sakic was going to go out and work hard to try and find a goalie, find a great number one goalie, and Darcy Kuemper definitely fits that bill. Now, Kuemper has 1 year left at $4.5 million. The Arizona Coyotes, I want to point out, they did retain $1 million of his salary too in this deal. As for the player Arizona's getting in return, the prospect Connor Timmins, I think he's going to be a very good defenseman for them. He doesn't sound like a guy who does any one thing really spectacular, but he sounds like a guy who does a lot of things really good. So for Arizona, they're getting a pretty well-rounded defenseman, a good, well-rounded young defenseman who I think can play for them this year, and finally is going to get an opportunity to showcase his stuff full-time, I would have to think, as obviously the Coyotes are, right now anyways, are not quite as deep as the Colorado Avalanche. So for Timmins, if he can come in, have a good impression on Coach Tourigny and the rest of the coaching staff and the management in Arizona, you know, things should be looking good for him, and I'm excited to see what he can do in Arizona this year as well. And let's be honest, the Avalanche had a bit of a scare when they lost Grubauer. They probably weren't a true Cup contender for a few hours, because you need goaltending to be a Cup contender to have a shot at winning the Cup. Everyone knows that. So Darcy Kuemper comes to Arizona, he leaves Arizona, he goes to Colorado. The Avalanche get their guy, so good for them. They needed to make this trade, and Joe Sakic, again, he's a very underrated GM in my opinion. For a guy who apparently didn't even really want the GM job when he first got it, he's done a pretty good job with it since he's had it, and I think he's going to be around there for a long time. And Joe Sakic, like I said, very underrated GM. The Avs are lucky to have him. Let's talk about some lesser news now. Aaron Dell and Craig Anderson have both signed one-year deals worth $750K, so two identical deals with the Buffalo Sabres. And it looks like that'll be Buffalo's goaltending tandem for this year. And even though these aren't really big signings, I still want to mention them because, A, I think Aaron Dell is a pretty good goalie and a very underrated one who hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity to show his stuff, and I think he can be a pretty good goalie for Buffalo this year. And B, I mean, anytime Craig Anderson finds work, it's news for me. I'm a huge Craig Anderson fan, and, you know, he played for Ottawa, as we all know, for a very long time. And to see him still being in the NHL and still getting work at 40 years old is pretty awesome, so I wanted to mention that. I think he's 8 or 9 wins away from 300 career wins all time for him. And I hope he can get that this year. I don't know, it's going to be tough. Buffalo's not looking to be a very great team. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully Anderson can get to those 300 career wins. I just did my homework, and Craig Anderson is indeed 9 wins away from 300, so hopefully he can get at minimum 9 wins this season. So those are my thoughts on this trade and these signings. Also, let me know what you all think in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe and share this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.